Good afternoon, everybody. Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. And what I have here is a compact disc or a DVD or USB camera disc, whatever it may be. And I've sprinkled some sand on it, some baking soda, and some super glue, and just have some interesting kind of shapes and elevations. And I've done tons of stuff like this. I didn't feel I needed to teach this yet again. But I just did sand on some clear glue, dried it a little bit, then sprinkled super glue on it, and then baking soda. And I had this nice looking plot of desert here. So what I want to make today is a campsite for the desert, so that whenever you have a scene, I have several campsites, but I don't have a desert one. So what I want to do is I want to get some small stones, and I want to create a kind of mock campsite using some of the smaller ones, and put some sleeping bags and or bedrolls or whatever, and some it's too big. All these rocks are too big. All right, let me get some smaller rocks. But some backpacks, you know, shit you'd find at a campsite is what I'm basically going for. Let's see if we can get some of the bigger ones out of here and find what we need. There we go. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get a rough circle of stone in the middle to represent our campsite. If you're in the wilderness and you don't want the fire to spread, you're going to put some kind of barrier, whether it be stones or dig a hole. You're going to do something to make a functioning fire ring. And you're going to have these turned long ways because you don't want to have to use a lot more rocks. You want to make it with the least amount of stones possible. So you're not going to have the skinny side sticking in and out. You're going to have it going side to side. Okay. All right. So that's looks like it's kind of in the center. Oh, crap. Look at that. I just shattered this Dollar Tree Tupperware. Just shattered it. That's crazy. Just disintegrated for me. Let's see if I can do a quick repair with some of my Gorilla Tape. Hello, Gorilla Tape. Hello, Chris. Gorilla Tape, you can't call me Chris. You got to call me Doom. You haven't proven your worth yet. Damn you. All right. Let's hope that Gorilla Tape holds. All right, so what was I doing? Ah, yes. I asked Miss Doom to buy me super glue, and somehow she got me these horrible tubes instead of the stuff I always get yet again. After we had a discussion about this, that if you're ever to get me super glue, please get me the 2-pack of the fat ones that I buy like a whole bag of at a time. But that didn't happen. That's okay. I'm just going to drop some glue on here. And make sure everything is touching the ground. Break that surface tension to make sure you get a good firm hold. Now we need some bed rolls and stuff. So for the bed rolls, what I was thinking is this is like a kid's towel. I was thinking I would just cut some pieces with this to be like the bottom layer. Something like that. Cut it off squarish. Take off extra crap. Something like that, maybe. That's probably not squared off at all. Something like that. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe that's a little wide. Something like that. That might be a little bit long. Let's get a mini and look. How much room do you need to sleep on, dude? Okay. There we go. That's how much room he needs to sleep. So I'm going to cut this. That's just about long enough too. So I'm just going to cut these out of that piece. I'm going to do 5. Okay. Let's kind of get them where we want them to sit. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now to hold these in place while we're working, I think the easiest solution would be to get a little bit of super duper hot glue and shove it down. You don't want it to be crooked like that. You want it to be kind of straight. But once it's down, it will be down, I'll tell you that. Okay. Okay, and the next thing I want to do is I want to get some kind of blankets on those. Something that they can cover up with. And we want those to just be slightly larger. I'm not a master t-shirt or clothing dissector, nor do I have probably the right shears for the job, scissors for the job. I'm just doing my best here. And we want that just to be a little bit shorter than the bedrolls themselves. Okay, let's cut these into appropriate, cut this flat on the end. Cut these into appropriate lengths, something like that. And we're just trying to get 5 bedrolls. And that one's too short for a 5th one. Not bedrolls, I'm sorry, blankets. So I'm just going to cut this flat and try to make it work. Okay. All right, so on my thinnest one here, I'm just going to get a little bit on the back. And that's going to get me started. I'm going to place that on here, like that. Okay, and we're going to do each one that way. We don't want too much excess, and we don't want it to really go over the edge of the base. So just use your snippers and fix that. You know, make it work. Kind of custom tailor each piece to go where you need it to go, and you don't need to measure, just kind of get them on there. Okay. You really just don't want to go over the edges if you can help it, because you're going to be putting super glue on these, and you don't want it to be a burden to where you have a big mess to clean up. This last bed's a little wonky and strange over here, so let's kind of get this one out of the way. Oops, mistakes are being made as we speak. This bed was not meant to be. That's the problem. Okay, and one more. We just need to snip this off a little bit because it's just a bit more than we want. Okay. Okay. And that should hold everything in place pretty good while we're working. I do want to snip some of the scissors off right here, or some of this sheet off right here. Okay. Now, what did I get in a glue stick? Ugh. These are not going to be like all laid down like a perfect bed is made. So what I want to do is I want to kind of fold some of these over just like that, and give it a different kind of, maybe a different look. And then we want this all to lay down. Let's get our McBurnham-matic. Get rid of spider webs. And then let's lay these down. To lay these down, we're just going to get glue. And let it soak through. Okay. And if you push that onto the layer below with a little bit of pressure, it'll just kind of suction down. Okay. Okay. And this last one's got kind of a big fold on it. It might not want to go down as nice. So I'm just going to give it a little bit more to love. Okay. Now we're just going to get some glue on that part there, just stiffen that up so we can paint it easily. Okay. All right, let's look at some ideas for some backpacks and some bags. So one of the things that's real easy to make are like satchels, garbage bags particularly. You could use plastic, or if you have really thin material, or like for me, I'm going to use this t-shirt. I'm going to cut myself a little like oblong shape, not quite a circle, but some kind of bagan like this. Okay. I'm going to use that. I'm going to get a piece of wire. And then I need something to fill this up to give this mass. So the easy thing I have available right here is a handful of little stones. Okay. So check this out. You're going to get your little stones, and you're going to, just like when you were running away from home as a kid or in the cartoons you saw someone else pulling it off, you're going to get your stones, and you're going to get them all down in the bottom of that satchel. You're going to tighten it up. Just like this. You're going to get it. You're going to start wrapping that around and making yourself a cloth satchel. Now, you're probably not going to be able to hand tighten that enough to where it does what you want. So what you can do is just grab this with a pair of needle noses and start twisting it around till it tightens up. Okay? And as that tightens up, it's going to look more and more like that classic kind of tight top satchel. I broke mine. And then we want to cut off some of this excess fabric. Just like that. And that's going to be a nice little satchel on the ground. You can really thin up this top part as much as you need to make it look less silly and big. Just like that. And this is going to be a little satchel. We're going to place that right here to get it kind of held in place while it's working. We're going to find a crack in it, throw some glue and shove it down, and then we're going to get a little bit of stupor glue and make it sturdy. Okay, and we'll let that just dry how it is. Now let's make a backpack. So to make backpack, you need some kind of, any kind of thing that's sturdy. Let me get this plastic out of here. I don't plan on using it. So grab yourself like a piece of tinfoil or something. I'm gonna grab some tinfoil. Oh, this one's not open. Let me find an open one. Hello, open tinfoil. Where art thou? So you want to make an easy backpack or small trail bag for something like this. Get yourself a piece of tinfoil, ball it up real tiny. Okay. And then once you get it balled up tiny, kind of mush it down into a small misshapen rectangle. Like a cube, but not, you know, not a square cube, like a rectangular cube, whatever that term is. I'm going to cut mine just like that. I'm going to make it a little smaller. Okay. So for a miniature, that's a pretty big backpack, but we want this to look you know, like a backpack. So just get any piece of fabric, all right, dab of glue like that, put your piece there, pull this up tight, snug across, okay, and you're gonna have to glue that too. So get that up there, glue it. Then you just cut off most of the sides like that. Drag those over with a little bit of glue, just like this. Out. Not just like that. Don't burn yourself when you do it. Okay. Fold these over. Ow. And give it a second to cool. You don't need straps for this part, because the straps will be the part laying against the ground. So you can just kind of make the bag, fold it up so it looks cloth, like, you know, cloth. Then, once you have that done, wrap this around this way and pull it halfway down to be your bag. Okay, there we go. Now we can snip off this excess on the sides, just like that. And there's a nice little knapsack. And maybe someone's using that as a pillow or whatever it may be. Okay. I'm going to get a dab of glue on the back of that. I'm going to set it there. Not as a pillow, because that one's kind of big for a pillow. Okay. There we go. There's one. You can make something like this with cardstock too, actually. It might look a little different. If you're going to make it with cardstock, what I would do is something like this. Maybe cut that a little rounder. Okay, then snip in there and snip in there. Get a little piece of tin foil or whatever you're going to use for your main form. Okay, so let me get a piece of tin foil in here to give it some sturdiness. I'm just going to make this into a little wad because this one doesn't need to be as. Get a little bit of glue. Shove your tin foil down. Glue here. Pull that up like that. And pull these sides up like that and that. See that? Make sure there's not sticking out too far. Mine are sticking out too far. So I'm just going to get my shears. So I'm going to bring those back up. I'm going to get a little bit of glue on the sides. Push that in and pull that up, just like that. Pull it all the way around to the front so it'll stay, just like I did there. Do the same thing on this side. I'm just going to get a little dab of glue here in my crevice. I'm going to drag this up, pull that shut, just like that, and then roll this up. Okay, and I'm going to smoosh it down. Smooshing it down and making it sturdy and strong. Get myself a little bit of a backpack shape. Now for the front side, once that's cool, I'm just going to get a dab of glue, cover this up, just like that. You could put a little piece of paper on there or cardstock or whatever you wanted to. All I'd do to do that is I'd just cut a small enough piece. I'd glue it in place, and I'd actually glue it up all the way up to here if I was doing that. If I was adding paper. Get a curve so it naturally sticks. There we go. just like that. And snip off your excess. Having a little trouble getting a hold of my excess. Okay. Then you can pull that down just like that. Get a little glue in there, just like that. Okay, pull this down and hold it till it cools. Okay. Now, if you want yours to have like a little pouch on the front, maybe this backpack's extra fancy. This is a big old backpack. You can just kind of snip yourself a little piece, get a dab of glue, and get that on there, just like that. Push it down. Okay. So here's another type of backpack at the campfire. Just gonna get a little bit of glue on that, set that there, just like that. We're gonna douse it in super glue so it's kind of permanent and sturdy. Okay. There we go. All right, cool. All right, we need a hitching post because these dudes and dudettes are going to be out here on the range, and they're going to be doing all kind of cowboy stuff, and they're going to need something to hitch to. So let's get first some sticks to throw in the campfire, and those just can be haphazardly tossed in there in any kind of way. Okay, I'm just stripping bark off this little one because I couldn't get it looking nice. Okay, get a little bit of super glue to hold that in there forever. All right, and let's get a piece of stick that could be the hitching post. It's kind of thick. What about this guy here? What I would do is, depending on how many horses your party has, is I would do a couple different hitching posts. And to do mine, I'm just going to get a dab of glue. I'm going to get a stick. There's actually something I should have done first. So I'm going to get another hitching post going. Get a stick, just like that, and I'm going to get a little bit of twine. I'm having trouble getting rope. Give me a second here. All right, so to do my twine, I'm just going to get a dibby dab of glue to get it started. I'm going to lay my twine on that and smush it down flat. Just like that. Then I'm going to pull that around a couple times. I'm going to get a tiny bit of glue right here. And I'm going to bring that flat, smash it down, and cut it off. The reason I'm adding that twine on there is because I'm not actually going to have an individual rope leading from each of my horses. I'm just going to use that as a generic representation, as that's where horses are tied up. So I'm going to put one of those on each side of this. Okay. And let me pull this one back off and wrap it. I think that'll help our cause. Just get a dibble-dabba-doo of the hot glue. You don't need much. Mushing it flat. Just like that. And I'm going to come around. Get that on there in such a way that I can control it a little bit. Tiniest dab of glue. Okay. I'm just snip off my excess. Then I'm going to reapply this. Okay. Now I need to cinch these down so they don't move. That hot glue is not going to hold them forever. Okay. So to fix those in place permanently, I'm going to grab another bag of failure. A package of failure, I should say. I hate this kind of glue. All right, just getting my sticks, dousing the bottoms, just like that. Okay. Set these off to the side. Well, this lid won't go on. I hate those. I really do. Okay. Let's get a little bit of baking soda. Not bacon, as in the cousin of fatback, but baking soda. Don't forget, I am from the hills of West Virginia, and sometimes I have a little bit of a speech impediment because of it. Save some of my baking soda for later, in case I need it again. All right. I'm going to take this off camera for just a second and blow it off with the hot air gun. Just trying to get loose stuff. Let's play a fun game where I back my camera up and try to get rid of any loose stuff that can be caught on fire. Mostly I'm just melting spider webs down at this point. Okay. All right. Do we need a little stack of campfire? Well, we don't. But we can make one if we think that that's something we need. And that's an easy thing to make. So what we'll do, we'll get this stick here. And we'll just cut these off. And make a little half butt attempt to campfire. Stack of firewood. Okay. To do that, we'll just get 3 little logs here. We'll stack those up like that. We'll get a dab of glue to soak down through there and hold those all together. Something like that. It'll definitely serve the purpose I want it to. I would have liked to have done it with a light in it, but I don't have any tea lights right now. I have tea lights, but not the kind I need. Like I need these like certain little plastic crappy ones. Something like that would make a nice one. I'm going to spray paint this and we'll come back and paint it up. You could Mod Podge it to seal everything if you feel the need. I don't, but you could. And we'll see it when we come back and do a part 2. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon. Oh, sorry, I needed a drink. Notification bell icon, comment. Check out the website, www.dungeon-swag.com. And check out the Discord. There's some links in the description. There's a discount code for miniatures to save 25% off your first month's box, and the website and Discord. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.